I'm Chris,
And I'm Kiley. And this is Redefining Resilience,
where we explore what it means to build a resilient lifestyle
so you can thrive in any and every situation. All right, we're back.
And we are. How are you? Haven't seen you in a while.
We've literally been in these chairs for over an hour.
Yes, we have.
We do batch recording
We do.
when we can.
Which is most of the time.
Yes. We like to be as efficient as possible. So today, expanding on controlling our environment, we are talking about how to build our network intentionally.
Okay.
All right. So when you think about different types of relationships you have in your life, what are the different categories for you?
Are there more than two? Personal and professional?
Oh, well, kind of, yeah. Because, I mean, you think about it, your personal relationships are what? Friends and family.
Yeah.
Community.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're involved in the church. Okay, so for professional relationships, we have our colleagues. We have clients.
Mm-hmm.
Mentors, coaches. So I guess that pretty much summarizes all of it, right?
Yeah.
When you think about actively and intentionally building your circle, like, why do you think, like, why do you think it's important?
Because you're intentionally putting certain people in your life. You only have so much bandwidth. I don't know. You tell me.
Well, how do you make the decision? Who's in your life, who's not?
Is that person good for my current situation? Like, is this person building me up? And are they good people? I mean, that's pretty simple for me.
Okay.
What about you?
Well, I think of it as a quality over quantity game.
For sure.
I've not always thought that way. I used to have a lot of friends, but like no good friends, which I would still probably say is pretty true for me.
I don't think no. I think very little. It's like the inner circle, outer circle.
Yeah.
Friendships.
I had like a very small inner circle.
Yeah. A lot of acquaintances.
Yeah. Many acquaintances.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it would be hard pressed to go to any restaurant in this area and not shake hands with people.
Yeah.
I mean,
we typically run into people we know all the time and at events.
We know a lot of people.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between knowing a lot of people and having a lot of close friends.
Right.
Yeah.
The good old Googler, when asking it what building your circle intentionally means, it said actively choosing the people you surround yourself with, focusing on quality connections over quantity, and deliberately cultivating relationships with individuals who align with your values, goals, and personal growth aspirations. Google has done it again.
That Googler's awesome. That Google AI is the shit.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like ChatGPT better personally, but I just think ChatGPT knows me. We've been through more. It knows me better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. Depends on how long you use it.
So what were some like hard lessons you had to learn about relationships and building your network?
I think the hardest one I learned was when I owned my first business. Everybody wants to be your friend when you're new. What you're doing is new and shiny. The first hard month I had, I lost all my friends. The first day of opening, I had a lot of people that wanted a lot from me for free that hung out with me as long as I gave them free stuff or chatted them up for 4 hours or whatever.
Sounds like a good friend.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that was probably the hardest lesson was, one, nobody loves your business like you. And two, there are people out there that will use you. Mm-hmm. There are what most people would consider a bad person to exist. So That's really unfortunate. Because the first time you meet your first bad person, you're like, oh, this is a shitty thing to learn.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think my biggest aha moment when it came to relationships was when I stopped drinking.
That's a good one.
There were two big lessons that I learned. When I stopped drinking, I realized I had a bunch of drinking buddies, not real friends. So that was it was a grieving process because I no longer wanted to hang out with these people because I tried to go to bars and I tried to be the sober one at the bar, and it wasn't fun. And like nobody was really having meaningful conversations with me, and I'm just taking up a seat. I'm drinking water. I'm not really having a great time. People are pounding shots around me. Just not the environment I want to be in, and not really the activities I want to be doing. And if there's not live music at least entertaining me during all of this, like it really started to be very draining on me. So I just stopped coming around and doing those things. And if those people wanted to do something productive, like work out with me or go to a yoga class or walk on the Monon, I was all for it, but they really weren't interested in doing any healthy activities. So I've just since lost quite a few friends that I normally would have been excited to go out on a Friday or Saturday night with. I think the other hard lesson I learned was when I quit my first job when I had moved to Indianapolis. So I got this cool job. I was there for 2 years. It was a startup. So like I was super invested and had really close, tight-knit group of friends / coworkers there. And as soon as I left, it was like I no longer existed to them. And I realized that some friendships are built out of convenience.
Or necessity, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you were no longer part of the system involved in making daily life happen. So therefore you weren't a part of the system at all, ever, that they needed to be a part of.
No.
I lived in a really small town for like 16 years. I left and I didn't get a single, man, see you later, sorry to see you go, ever. I lived there 16 fucking years and I didn't get a single, man, I wish you were still here or whatever.
Yeah.
From people that I was really close to. I spent pretty much every day with most of these people.
Yeah.
There was like a good 20 people I'd see on a regular basis. It's a small town, so, I mean, that's normal. But because I wasn't a part of their daily life, I wasn't a part of anything.
Yeah.
It didn't matter anymore. Which at the end of the day is like, well, one, it's kind of refreshing. And two, like, just understand that some, like you said, some relationships are built off convenience. And when it's no longer convenient, that will violently kill that relationship.
Yeah.
Quickly.
Yep.
Like it literally was like a light switch for me.
It happened overnight when I quit my job.
Yeah.
It was like I did not matter. And I even tried reaching out to my old coworkers to try to get lunch with them. And nope, no dice. I thought that these people were going to be in my life for forever.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But, you learn that relationships come and go for a reason or a season.
Well, I grew up military, so it was easy for me to just say, I'm out. I moved 13 times before I was in the 8th grade. Every one of my siblings was born in a different state, like not just kind of different states, like several states away from each other.
Yeah.
But I got used to that lifestyle, but I understand that growing up in one spot, being around the same people all your life, that's a difficult transition to go through. So we're not lightly saying like reason or a season. That is life though. That's
it
how
really
that
is.
operates. So some people you will outgrow. That does not mean you're an asshole. That means that you are on a different trajectory and life is changing and your paths don't cross anymore. It's totally fine.
Well, and if you just like take a step back, I only have really 2 close friends from high school, 1 close friend from college who happens to be the same close friend from high school. So Stephanie checks both boxes. And then...
Which is really cool.
Yeah. So I really only have 2 super close friends that I still hang out with, talk to on a regular basis. I mean, my sister would be the 3rd, but like I've known her my whole life. Well, her whole life, because I'm older. But I mean, all of my friendships now are more recent friendships because the reality is we are growing and changing and evolving, and we're not the same people we were in 3rd grade. So it's logical to think I'm probably not going to stay close to these people for a long, long time. We all were kind of on the same path and trajectory when we were in elementary school, middle school, high school together. But, you know, it's normal, I think, to let relationships cycle out. When you think about taking inventory, I think it's important to consider a few things. First one, if you're doing your inventory exercise, you want to think about is taking energy check. Does this person give me energy or take my energy?
Yeah.
And that goes for every one of these categories. Colleagues, friends, family, coaches, mentors, clients, community. Am I getting energy from this? If I'm not getting energy from my coworkers, maybe I'm in the wrong environment. If I'm not getting energy from my clients, maybe I have the wrong clients.
Yeah.
If I'm not getting energy from my family, maybe I'm adopted, like I've always thought.
Well,
kidding.
it's also a really good time to do some internal checking.
Yeah.
My favorite is when people are like, I'm going to keep doing this because everybody's just a hater. It's like there has to be a point in time when you accumulate enough haters to where you go,
I'm the common denominator.
Yeah, it is I, like Taylor Swift says. I'm the problem. It's me. I'm the one that's causing the strife and the problems here. So, like, that's a really good barometer. But, yeah, I think it's a really good idea to take inventory even on yourself. You're not the main character of everybody's movie.
Exactly.
You're the main character of your movie.
A side note, I at one time did think I was adopted because I found a adoption certificate in my baby book. And I started crying immediately because I was like, oh my God, this makes so much sense. Like, I knew I wasn't related to my family. I'm so much different. And then I went out, of course, crying. And also because they lied to me my whole life. And so I went out and I was like, Mom, what the heck? And I mean, I'm probably like 12 years old. And she goes, did you read that? I said, yeah, it's an adoption certificate. She's like, it's for your Cabbage Patch doll. So as it turns out, I am in fact
A Schmitz. Yeah.
Part of my parents' bloodline.
Hilarious.
Yeah. So anyway, back on track here. Another thing you can ask yourself is, does this person support my growth and well-being?
Yeah.
And that's where I think if I go back to the people that I surrounded myself with when I was drinking, they were certainly not supporting my well-being.
Yeah.
Alex Perry, who we had on this podcast, she was my public speaking coach. She was my mentor. She was a friend. And she was the first person in my network that I really talked to about not drinking. We bonded pretty strong over giving up alcohol, and I asked her a gazillion questions about it when I was considering not drinking. And she was like to me, she's always been the person that I want to be like. So when I saw that she had changed her habits and behaviors and choices, I was like, oh, maybe I should too. Because she was somebody that I really valued in my network and idolized and really looked up to as, you know, like I said, a mentor and a coach. And that to me is somebody who supports my well-being. It's somebody who's going to challenge me to get better. Yeah. Not to continue habits, even though they're fun, Like it's not healthy, right? So I think if you're really being honest with yourself, you have to ask, like, do these people really support my well-being? Stephanie, another friend from high school. So I guess I have three friends from high school. Stephanie, my other Stephanie, asked me if I wanted to go to the spa and do a foot soak, a foot detox. And I'm like, yes, friend, because that supports my well-being. That's a good friend.
Foot spa friends. Yes.
Yeah. You need them.
Well, so from a different perspective, supporting your well-being would be when my buddy texts me and goes, hey man, how were your lifts this week? Assuming that I'm still taking care of myself, assuming that I'm still lifting.
Yeah.
Or like my buddy texted me the other day, how's the weight gain gone? Like he knows I'm not competing for a year, but he also knows me really well.
Yeah.
And knows that that's probably what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And he supports the goal. So, and I told him at the beginning of this year, keep me accountable. These are the things that I want. These are my 3 goals for the year.
Yep.
So supporting your well-being is somebody that champions your processes and says, hey, listen, bud, are you on track?
Yeah.
You know, I want to help you get to where you're going, but also like celebrates your wins with you. If you have somebody dragging you down when you win, or you feel guilty explaining a success to them, this is wild that this happens. We have people in our life that suck the wind out of your sails every time you make anything successful or anything good happens to you. Get that person out of your life, man.
Yeah.
Like I can't tell you how many times I've talked to people and they're like, well, I don't want to say anything because I don't want them to feel bad. It's like, then that's a shitty friend.
Yeah.
What a horrible friend that you can't celebrate your wins.
Yeah.
I want my buddies to call me and be like, bro, I just murdered it and I got a client that gave me $1 million in commission. Yes. Yes. I want to surround myself with that success. Like, bring it on, man. The more successful you are, puts more positive energy into success in my life. But there is a lot of people that live in that scarcity.
Yeah.
And that you have to be less than me in order for me to be friends with you.
Well, and I think you can support somebody's growth and well-being without feeling like you have to be doing the same things that they're doing. Like, we talk about alcohol as one, and my sister, she drinks on occasion, and we were out one night at a happy hour with our parents and some of their friends, and I ordered a non-alcoholic drink, and one of my parents' friends was like, oh, you're not drinking? And my sister chimed in right away and was like, no, she doesn't drink. And was like super, like, she was there. She was there to defend my honor.
Oh, Abby.
Yeah.
She's great.
And the guy said some sarcastic comment like, oh, well, then we couldn't be friends. And I was like, you are correct. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually quite certain I said that because he also told me he'd been drinking all day. So I knew I could say whatever I wanted to, and he wasn't even going to remember anyway. So I just let the sarcasm flow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you can be supportive and not partake in somebody else's decisions or goals like very easily.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Values alignment, super important.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be really hard to maintain a structure of values if you hang out with people that have a different structure or that don't respect yours enough to be a part of it and support it. Mm-hmm. I have friends that are deep in the Christian faith. Cool, man.
Yeah.
I totally support you. I don't play that game, but I support you. You know, I'm not going to tell you not to. Mm-hmm. In fact, I've held them accountable to the things that they say they want to be held accountable to. And I wouldn't hold myself to that standard, but it's cool that we can understand other people's opinions, other people's viewpoints, and other people's wants and driving forces and help them become better.
Yeah. I think values alignment is so important because if you're friends with somebody and you feel like you're compromising a little bit of your soul every time you hang out with them, you're going to be exhausted. You know, if politically you and a friend don't align or maybe from religious perspectives, you guys don't align and it really interferes with the friendship, then it might be time to say goodbye to that relationship or just have some healthy boundaries in place where you don't talk about specific topics.
Yeah.
Because that can be really, really tough. So making sure you guys are aligned from a values perspective is really important.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Next one is trust and safety. Do you trust or do you feel safe around this person? I think this is a huge one. Once trust is gone, once you lie, once you do something that lacks integrity, I have no time for it.
Well, think about your friend group from like high school and then the wild child in that. The one that's like super funny because they'll do anything. But like, how much did you trust that person?
Yeah.
That person was just like a loose fucking cannon.
Oh, yeah.
It was fun to hang around them because they were crazy and they just do whatever. But did you trust them? Did you think like this is a good idea to be around this person? Did you hang out with them alone a lot?
Yeah.
There was always a couple dudes, 2 or 3 in my high school that were at everything, but never alone with somebody. They were never like this guy and this guy hanging out. It was always this guy at a party. And it's because they were volatile.
Yeah.
They were fun to be around, but like, Jesus, like nobody was wanting to put their single life in this person's hand in any capacity because they were nuts.
Yeah. I had another coach that publicly slandered me on social media.
Yeah.
And I mean, for me, it wasn't the slander on the social media that did it for me. It was lying about what he said or what he meant or whatever it was when I confronted him that really upset me most about the situation. Because it's like, if you make a mistake, just own up to it. That's fine. But what we can't resolve is the fact that you've lied and now I don't trust you. And you've lied about something stupid. So you're probably going to lie about something bigger.
Yep. That's the kicker. Yeah. Lie about dumb shit. It's easy to lie about the big stuff.
And I think there's other people too I've come across where maybe they just make bad decisions and bring you into it.
Well, it's got their own stuff going on.
Yeah.
Like, you ever been around somebody and you're like, man, you're just not that put together. Like, you just got some stuff to work on, pal.
100%, which leads us to the next question, which is reciprocity. Is there reciprocity in this relationship? Or is this a one-sided relationship where because you've got so much going on, I'm always the one that's like keeping it together, or I'm always the one to give and not get anything in return?
That's a relationship versus a Santa Claus. Are you Santa Claus just constantly giving these people things for free, expecting nothing, getting nothing, always putting your energy out there?
Yeah.
Because you're going to get worn out fast.
Well, and I'm all here for, like, you got to give a little to get a little, but if it becomes a pattern and you are the one constantly giving, man, that's exhausting. Man, if we had this scenario where we had a quote friend who asked us to watch her kid all the time, and it was, oh, I need a favor, I need a favor, I need a favor, I need a favor. There was no reciprocity.
Well, at the end of the day, there are seasons, right? I get it. Like, sometimes you're just in a shit one. Sometimes you got a couple weeks, maybe a couple months.
Yeah.
Maybe even a whole year of we're just not firing on all cylinders right now.
Yeah.
And maybe I need a little bit of help. But at the end of the day, even the people that I've been friends with that are going through the shit, I still get energy from them if they're good people.
Yeah.
They're still motivating. They're still exciting to be around. They might be going through the garbage, but like, they're not a horrible human.
No.
They're not sucking me down in there with them, and they don't want me to be there with them.
Well, and it's one thing, I think what really was the straw that broke the camel's back was the fact that there wasn't gratitude for the giving. I think that really makes all the difference, because if you've got a friend who is super appreciative about all you do for them and they reciprocate in ways that they can, that's one thing. But when you don't even get a thank you, or you don't get any kind of appreciation in return for your giving, or, I think, or if you've got a friend who just literally poured their heart and soul open to you for 2 hours while you couldn't get anything else done, and at the end of it was like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even ask how you were doing.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I asked myself the question, it's like posting on social media. I asked myself the question, one, who the hell gives a shit about what I'm about to say? And two, am I assuming that somebody's going to help me out of this situation? Meaning I'm not taking responsibility for it. So I'm going to unload this information on somebody so they can gift me some kind of way out of it, or some kind of knowledge that I can selfishly use in order to manipulate my situation. Like, if you're just looking for help all the time and not giving anything back into the world, you're just a taker, man. Mm-hmm. You're not, there's no the reciprocity has to happen.
Yeah.
In order for it to grow and generate more help in your direction, you have to help at the same volume. Mm-hmm. If you want to be helped exponentially, help others exponentially.
That was my whole philosophy. When I started my business and went off on my own, I just started helping people.
Yeah.
I didn't care if I got paid. I didn't care if it was mentoring younger girls in their professional career. I didn't care if it was volunteering. I didn't care if a friend just needed an ear. I just started helping people, and eventually I was taken care of, very quickly. And I told myself I'm just not going to focus on money, because focusing on money is really not going to create more of it. It's just going to make me anxious. And the only thing I focused on was giving.
Well, this isn't something I learned or I just knew all the time. I had to really experience it. I had to have friends say, bro, all you do is complain.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, fuck, do I just complain? Or, hey, man, every time we're with you, you're drunk. It's like, fuck, man, maybe I should rein it in.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm losing friends because I'm acting like an asshole. What a phenomenal thing to learn.
Yeah.
Luckily, it only took me 1 or 2 of those to go, I don't want to be that guy, Or it happened to me with a friend that I thought was close, and I just vowed to never do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Next question you can ask in your inventory process is, do we have healthy communication?
It's the lifeblood of everything.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yep. So that for me is a big one with clients. If I'm pulling teeth trying to get communication from clients, it's probably not going to be a client I need to retain.
Well, no, because it goes back to reciprocity.
Mm-hmm.
Are you helping this relationship further with the way you communicate? If no, you're giving nothing back to the relationship. You have to communicate. You have to.
Well, and on the flip side, it has to be two-way communication. I had a friend who would literally just talk the entire time.
Wow.
And be like gossip. So it wasn't even mentally stimulating conversation for me. And it got to the point where the only time I really wanted to hang out with her is if we went to a movie. I'm like, okay, this
forces you to shut up for 2 hours.
Yeah, pretty much. Hey, let's hang out, but let's go to a movie. Which,
yeah.
But that was really eye-opening to me, because I didn't consciously realize I was trying to avoid conversation with her until I got home, and I was like, oh, that was a really pleasant hangout. Oh, it's because I didn't have to hear her talking for 2 hours. So the communication has to go both ways. If it doesn't, it's eventually going to become tiresome for the chronic listener.
Well, and you got to think about how you build a relationship. You build a relationship on the very base level here by data being transferred back and forth. Therefore, both parties are being fueled with a consistent amount of new data to grow off of. If you're just constantly giving, like you're the person that talks for 3.5 hours about how hard everything is and how much life sucks, or just fucking talks for 3 hours, you're giving a ton of data.
Yeah.
And that person can't do anything with that, and they're not giving you anything.
Well, I remember you came back from a networking conversation and you were so energetically drained. And you just said that he talked for like 90 minutes straight.
Yeah.
And you're so overwhelmed with all the information that he was spewing at you. I mean, you just looked exhausted.
I felt whooped.
Yeah.
I felt absolutely demolished.
Well, and that brings us to our last inventory question, which is, does this person bring me joy?
We can be very clear with this next statement. It's okay if there are people that don't.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be the martyr and let everybody just soak up your time because you're here to give. No, you are the only person that can control your bandwidth. If somebody's not giving you joy and they're sucking the life out of you, let them know and get the hell out of there, man.
Yeah.
Pull out. You only got so many years on this planet. Don't waste it.
Yeah.
Especially with that.
Yeah.
Because it dominates you. It took me a couple days to get over that networking meeting.
Oh, yeah. I know. You're still talking about it like you're exhausted the next day.
It took me 3 days to process the information.
Yeah.
3 days in, I'm like, okay, cool. That was a cool meeting. But it took 3 days.
Yeah.
It's 72 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think you said something else that I was going to. Oh, and one thing just to clarify, you don't have to be getting something out of the relationship to get joy out of it. Maybe you just enjoy somebody's company. Totally fine. Like, you don't have to be getting something from it. Or let's say you have a mentee and you're mentoring somebody, and obviously you're not getting the mentorship, but giving the mentorship brings you joy. That's fantastic. Like, those kinds of relationships are great, and you don't always have to be receiving something. So I just want to, you can have it be a joyful relationship without getting anything from it.
Well, and I think we need to preface what we mean by getting something out of the relationship. Is it bringing me joy? Does it make me happy? Do I enjoy the conversation? Can I be helpful? Can they be helpful? Is this something that fuels me in a way that I can't put words to?
Does this person have good energy?
Wow.
Is it a good vibe? I mean,
Yeah.
those are legit questions to base whether or not you give somebody your precious time.
I have friends that I don't align with politically at all, and I fucking love them.
Yeah.
I think they're fantastic.
Yeah.
Because we have this mutual understanding, without even stating it, that we understand we're from different roads. Very clear. That does not bother us because their energy level is so awesome.
Yeah.
That when I'm around them, I'm like, this is a fucking cool person.
Yeah.
Right? And we just vibe.
And I know who
that's
you're
cool.
talking about just by how you're talking about them, because
Yeah. That's what we're talking about. We don't, you can get just an energy level boost. I mean, I'm getting excited and I'm not even with them, but you can get an energy level boost from a person and use that as a barometer.
Yeah.
If you feel like you're kind of drowning when you're around somebody, pay attention to that.
Yeah.
There's a reason we have feelings.
Yep.
That's why it's so important to take care of your health and eat good things, because those internal barometers are louder.
Yeah.
If you eat shitty food, your body's worried about taking care of itself. If you take care of yourself, train, maintain good sleep schedule, stuff like that, your intuition is louder.
So use this checklist to take inventory of the intentional circle that you'd like to build.
And let us know how it's going.
Yeah, we want to hear.
Questions or funny stories, bad stories, anything. We want to hear it.
Is this helpful?
Yeah.
Are we annoying? By we, I mean not me, Chris.
Not me, Chris.
Just kidding.
Peace out.
Thanks for listening to Redefining Resilience.
To learn more about building your mental and physical readiness, check out odysseyresilience.org.
And follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok.